Well, I got something very interesting.
We're becoming the Inquirer.
Yes, the National Star.
National Star, we are.
Yes,
TMZ, is that what that's
TMZ.
called?
Yeah. So apparently, Melania Trump is pregnant with an alien baby. No, just kidding. So apparently, though, we found out Melania Trump spends quite a bit of time away from Mr. Trump. She's got an apartment. Actually, they thought I got to hear that she's got a separate apartment in Trump Tower that she stays at a lot. In fact, in the first 108 days that the president was in his term, she stayed at the White House only 14 times. So they're not sleeping or being together at night. She's doing her own thing. And her actual address is registered to Mar-a-Lago, not the White House. Now, in the past, you had the president and the first lady, they lived in the White House. That's the way it was. And I know Michelle Obama didn't really like that. I remember on her podcast, she mentioned a few times that she hated living there, but she did. I mean, that's her husband. So at the time, you spend the 8 years there, and that's what you do. So, but she's got a real low profile, and she's vanished for weeks at a time. And the only time she shows up is when there's like a public, a funeral or a public thing where she's got to show up with him. And, when she's standing next to him, it raises his whole look, of course, because she's so majestic and so she officially changed, like I said, her permanent address to Mar-a-Lago. But there are reports that she spent significant time in the New York Trump Tower, possibly in a separate apartment, and leads largely a separate life from her husband, with minimum daily interaction beyond public events. Some sources describe the arrangement as living separate lives, with her focusing on personal interest. And we know she did that movie or a documentary recently, right?
Yeah.
So,
And they at the Oscars, they said something. I think it was Jimmy Kimmel said something like, "I hope Trump's not mad that the Melania didn't make it, didn't get anything. He's going to be all mad." But he doesn't understand. The movie came out in January, so it won't be up until next year's Oscars.
right, it missed the deadline for
missed the
votes. Yeah,
deadline.
well, he's not going to say that, And we know it's not come on, probably not an Oscar winner.
No, no.
You know.
Well, I've heard.
What are they
good
going to do?
things
They're going to
about
give her. They're going to give her supporting actress and actress. All the awards go to Melania. So I don't know. We didn't see the documentary. I do want to watch it.
But I would love to know, and I'm only saying this because my wife was, and if you ever saw the Crown on Netflix, I don't think it's a regular thing that the wife and the president and his wife sleep together. I think they actually have their own bedrooms in the White House. Well, actually, I don't even think that the president stays at the White House. I think there's a building next to it or across the street is really where he sleeps.
That's a good question, guys. Look it up. I don't
and
know.
also the first lady, I think she's got her own bedroom or something.
Well, that could be
Because like I looked at I mean, I'm only going by this stupid show, but they don't sleep together. The king and the queen, they don't bother with.
Well, yeah. I mean, maybe I can understand that, especially if he snores. She probably wants a separate room. But I know that Obama and like I said, Michelle, she was at the White House. Now maybe they use separate rooms, true, but
That's what
she's
I
4,000.
think that's what happened.
She's 2,000 miles away all the time in New York.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Well, I mean,
Right, yeah.
you're talking about a guy that's a billionaire. He's got places all over the place.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, he's got Trump Tower. She's got Mar-a-Lago.
Oh yeah.
And then he's got a bunch of golf courses with rooms. I mean, the one in
Bedminster.
Bedminster
Jersey.
right there.
Yeah.
They say that's a freaking resort by itself.
know.
Forget about the golf course.
I know. heard that.
I had a lot of customers that belonged to it and said it's beautiful.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the story between Mr. and Mrs. Trump.